Hi there, Brian Conway here again, and welcome back. Now the subject of today's training is something called risk reversal. And it's a very powerful concept that plays with the psychology of the way people make buying decisions, because in any kind of transaction, there's always some kind of perceived risk. In fact, in most things in life, there's some kind of risk. Even getting married, there's a potential risk that it may not go the distance. But in business, people are handing over their cash to buy your product or service. There's always some kind of perceived risk. So the purpose of this video is how can we lower that risk perception to encourage more people to buy from you. And that's obviously my goal, is to get you more leads and ultimately more sales and generate more income. So the way we need to do this is by what we refer to as lowering the barrier of entry, okay? It's finding out what are those things that might stop somebody, the barriers that might stop somebody from buying from you, and seeing if we can remove those and make it easier for the customer to metaphorically step over those and take advantage of the product or service that you sell. So we've got to find out what those barriers might be. In sales, we often call them sales objections. I'm sure you'll have heard of that expression. So we need to find out what they are. Now, one of the best ways and easiest ways I often find is to literally ask your prospective customer the question, what would stop you buying from me today? Okay. That alone will give you what their fears are about investing with you, or a list of what sometimes we refer to as their buying criteria. If you do this, and if you do that, and if you do this, then yes, I'd be prepared to kind of go ahead. So you can understand what it is that's stopping them. And I mentioned the word fear. Fear is a major motivator, and fear of the unknown will create inactivity, and therefore it's those fears that we've got to try and eliminate or lower so that somebody will take action and ultimately, as I said, buy your product or service. So in knowing what those things are, we've then got to work out, well, what would take that risk away? What would de-risk the investment from the prospective customer's point of view? And as I said, you can ask the customer to get those, or perhaps because of experience and already selling your product or service for a number of time, you often know what those barriers are. But any sort of sales situation where you're in front of a customer, it's a great question to ask. Now, knowing what they are, then as I said, we can do things that will potentially take those risks away. And I want to give you just some examples to get you thinking about different ways that you may be able to reduce risk or reverse the risk. As I said, this is about risk reversal. It's I'll take all the risk then, prospective customer, so that you have no fear about making a decision with me. That's what we're trying to achieve. Now, one of those ways of creating or reducing the fear of risk is what we call proof of concept. Now, I work with a lot of IT organizations, companies like BT, Cisco, Orange, Vodafone, Lenovo, etc., and the list goes on. And they do a lot of this proof of concept. They may implement a technology for 3 months, for example, into the customer's premises, perhaps putting some new IT into just one branch, so that the business can use it and test it and see if it actually delivers the value that they're expected to get from it. So it's proving that the concept will work. And even though the customer may actually be paying for those 3 months, it lowers the barrier of entry, because they know if it doesn't deliver, then obviously they can take it out after 3 months, so there's no further commitment. So that's one way of lowering the barrier of entry. In fact, that technique we often refer to as the puppy dog close in selling. And it's called that because if you imagine I gave you a cute little puppy and you had that puppy for 2 months, and the kids, if you have them, kind of get to love the puppy, and you get used to him being there when you come in from work, and he sleeps on the end of your bed and all that. Well, if in 2 months I said, sorry, I now need to take puppy back, you have grown attached to it. And that's kind of why we often refer to this as the puppy dog close. Give the opportunity for somebody to sample your wares, all right, and they will ultimately then continue to use them. And that's what we're trying to achieve here, because the best way for somebody to take your product or service is to experience what it does for them. And that's often the way people buy. If I get a paint and decorator in and he does a really great job in one of the rooms here in the house, then I'm going to go back to him or her to decorate the rest of the house, right? Because I've experienced what they can do, and therefore getting the rest of the house is risk-free. And that's kind of partly what this technique does for you. So that's one way. It's also similar to the concept that you see some businesses, particularly software companies, that will perhaps give you a 30-day free trial. If try it before you buy it. That's again the concept that's been leveraged here. So that's one way that we can reduce the risk. Another technique you might see used quite a lot is price matching. Again, this is another kind of fear thing, that I may invest some money with you, but what if I could have got it cheaper somewhere else? There's that kind of fear of loss of money, that I've lost out on a deal, or maybe I've made the wrong decision. We call that buyer's remorse. Okay, so price matching is a way of doing that. You see that all the time. A lot of the supermarkets do it now. If you can get it somewhere else cheaper, we'll give you the difference off your next shop, that kind of thing. But you can do it. And it's one of the reasons why people will say to you, well, send me a quote, and then I'll kind of go out to the market and I'll get some other quotes, and you have no control over that situation. So what I suggest is that use it at the point of sale. Actually say, look, part of my guarantee to de-risk this for you, it's not the word you use, but that's the mentality that we're trying to get across. To de-risk it for you, what we'll do, if you sign up today, I can get on with the work so you can start seeing the benefits. But if you want to then go out and find other people and get some additional quotes, and you can find a comparable service or product for a price less than I have, I will give you back the difference. All right? So you get the opportunity to close the difference, you take away that barrier of maybe saving some money, and you match the price of somebody else. Okay, so price matching is very powerful technique. And the thing is, what you'll find in using that technique is quite often that once they've signed up with you and they start with the project, they don't go out and look anywhere else anyway. They just don't, and it starts to build up that bit of rapport with you, so they don't even bother go looking. All right, so it's again another approach. Another one, it could be, I haven't got that much money to spend perhaps, so it may be you look at what we call staged payments. Okay, so that's why financing works so well. When you buy a car, you pay so much per month rather than all in one go. So that can help reduce sort of one of the barriers. Another very powerful one is what we call is the money back guarantee. Okay, the money back guarantee. And the guarantee systems like this are the sorts of things that you see the likes of QVC, I'm sure we're all familiar with, using. They give you a 30-day money back guarantee. Again, it's a bit like the puppy dog closes. Get it into your hand, get you using it, experiencing the value, the results, whatever the performance or whatever it might be, the benefit that you've bought it for in the first place. And then you can have your money back if you're not happy, but knowing more than likely once people have it, and laziness impacts here as well, the chances are they sort of won't send it back. Now, a lot of people challenge me on this one. They say, well, what if everybody wants their money back? Then what? Okay, I offer a full money back guarantee, I decorate the lounge and everybody wants their money back. Right. So, number of things to consider here. First of all, right, you've got to be confident in what you offer obviously is of a standard that is unlikely to cause any concerns about what people have got. So people who ask me that question, the first thing I challenge is actually how good are they at doing what they do. But let's assume we're all good at what we do. There may be people out there that want us to screw you over, take your service, take your product, use it for a period of time and then just get their money back. Okay, that kind of might happen. It is actually fairly rare, to be honest, for a number of reasons. And what you'll find though is even if that happens, the few people that may ask for their money back is totally outweighed by the amount of incremental business and additional revenues that you generate by just the fact that you offer that money back guarantee. It's all about putting your money where your mouth is. If you're prepared to do that, that gives people confidence. It really kind of builds up trust in what it is that you're offering. So right, extra sales will outweigh any returns that you might have to provide. But the other thing is that once you've given your product or your service, and if you've got good customer service, or it's something you like decorating, I keep using that example, and you're meeting person there making you a cup of tea and all that kind of thing, then the chances are, you build up rapport and a bit of relationship, they won't ask for their money back anyway. So it works again on the psychology sort of level. And even if there's something they're not happy with, it gives you the opportunity to say, well, look, what do I need to do to fix it, as opposed to just kind of give you your money back. And it's all part of building that relationship, but it starts with that offer at the front end. So there are a number of reasons how you can de-risk or reverse the risk. Because remember, if I'm going to guarantee that I'll give you your money back, or I'm going to guarantee that I'll price match it to somebody else, I said I'm carrying the risk, not the customer, in making that purchasing decision. And the other thing with perhaps money back guarantees to think about is that obviously at the outset, just set your success criteria. You don't want, with my coaching, for example, I guarantee a certain amount of business with a certain program based on the type of client that I take into that program. And we set a success criteria. So after this period of time, if we've achieved this, you don't get your money back. If we don't, then you do. So there's no uncertainty. When we get to a particular point in time and that customer's won 2 or 3 new major clients, we've covered the cost of their training with me and coaching and services, they've made some additional money, then it's all good. I don't want to get to the point where they go, yeah, well, I thought I might get 5 or 6 new customers, and therefore, I'm not 100% happy and maybe I should get my money back. No, we agreed 2, or we agreed 3, or we agreed 1, or whatever it might be. We've hit that criteria, happy days, let's move forward, okay? So you can manage these situations, so don't be fearful of them. But risk reversal, this lowering the barrier of entry, is one of the most powerful closing techniques. You can build it into your offers as well, so it's a great way of attracting prospective customers as well, because they'll be drawn to you if your offer, your advertising, includes some of these risk reversal techniques. So I hope you've got some great value from that. I'm sure you have. And in fact, what I often do with many of my prospective clients is I give them a free Profits Explosion coaching call, 45-minute call, just to introduce them to some of the concepts and get them started. That's one of the ways that I lower the barrier of entry. Many of you watching this don't know me, haven't worked with me, haven't seen the results I can create for your business. So quite often people who are uncertain maybe will come on a call with me and just get 45 minutes of coaching, go away and implement those techniques, see the results and impact on their business, and then come back and buy more from me. And in fact, if you want to take advantage of that, now I've mentioned it, I better give it to you as an offer. If you go to saleswithoutselling/free, there's a video and a web page there and an application form and everything you can get access to that will explain what I do, how we do it, what your next steps is, and if that's something you'd like to try, then there you go. There's a free offer from me. But again, if you've liked what we've covered here, if you've liked the concept, you can see how potentially you could work it into your business, then take action and go and do it. Famous quote from the book 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey quotes, "To know and not to do is not to know." Okay, so you know this stuff. You've got to do something with it now if you want to be better than somebody that doesn't know it. All right, so go and take action. And of course, please like it, share it, leave a comment, interact with me, ask any questions. I'm happy to answer those. But yeah, please do like it, share it, and I'll look forward to seeing you again in another video. I'm Brian Conway. Goodbye.